Winston, it is really good to see you. Today we are talking Secure Act 2.0 because it has finally passed. This will bring a lot of changes to retirement account rules, and we are breaking down the big takeaways, including some unique opportunities and changes to tax planning. So, Secure Act has been in the news for a long time. We've talked about it before. What's new here and who's affected?
Well, the Secure Act 2.0 allegedly is about opportunities to push back the RMD. Remember, it used to be 70 and a half, and then the Secure Act pushed that back to 72.
Mm-hmm.
And now one of the big highlights, the sugar coating on the pill, is it's now 73.
Mm-hmm.
And people like they greet that, very welcome. Oh, great, it's pushed back to 73 and even to 75 for people born 1960 and later, okay? But as Paul Harvey used to say, now what's the rest of the story, okay? Because as you look at the chart and you see the RMD age table being pushed back, what that equates to is that there's more time that allowing this compounding growth of these assets in these tax deferred plans. And it's literally leading to probably one of the biggest tax time bombs in U.S. savers history.
Yeah, I'm glad that you've broken this down for us. I want to do a deeper dive so that everybody understands, because like you said, a lot of this does seem like window dressing as good news. It's going to allow for larger account balances, right? But when we delay taking those RMDs and that account balance gets larger, in combination with Congress stripping the lifetime stretch IRA rules. So now almost all beneficiaries must take out the entire balance in 10 years. That is a huge tax burden to leave your loved ones.
Especially because if you think about it, your children might be older by the time they inherit this money. They might be in their higher earning years. And when they're forced under a beneficiary IRA arrangement, they inherit that money, right? Non-spousal beneficiary. They inherit that money. They're going to inherit a lot of money that has no basis. And that money is going to get poured into their earnings bucket. Taxes are likely on the rise anyways. So beware of the naked man that's offering you the shirt off of his back. Okay. That's a saying we use around here. And the IRS is really nobody's friend.
Yes, you're right. That is true. So this is, we're going to talk a little bit in a second about tax planning in regards to that. We want to touch on two more changes, though, which are significant and do affect a lot of people. They've also mentioned a change to 529 plans. What's that?
Well, I think what you're seeing with the 529 plans is that a lot of people are starting to recognize that set up 529 plans that were plans that were designed to provide tax-free use of this money to send children to college. People are starting to find out that the university thing is not what it was ever trumped up to be. Kids don't want to go to college, a lot of them. They start school, they drop out. It's not for them. It's a very, let's just put it this way. The universities have become a think tank for a lot of open-minded thinking. I'll try to be politically correct with that. The fact of the matter is that people are not getting the return on investment for what they're paying for a college degree. And as a result, these 529 plans are sitting there and they're becoming a tax burden. And there's been a lot of complaints about that. So what the Secure Act 2.0 is doing is it's allowing for the conversion of these 529 plans to Roth IRAs. But I must point out to you, I'm kind of looking down at some of my notes. It says under certain circumstances. What are those certain circumstances? That's yet to be really laid out very clear. So what we would like to encourage anybody who's thinking about converting a 529 plan under the 2.0 arrangement to definitely meet with a qualified advisor like our office or with your CPA, or we can work with your CPA to help that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, definitely an important conversation. Last on our big takeaways here, some changes to 401k rules. What do we need to know?
Well, they're talking about in the 401k plans, allowing for people to put money into the Roth 401k and allowing the employer to actually make matching contributions into the Roth 401k. It's still unclear how they're going to do that because, in the past, when when a person made a contribution to a traditional 401k plan, the employer just put the matching funds in there, and it was a deduction, if you will, for the employer.
Right.
When people were putting the money into the Roth 401k plan, the employee's contribution went into the 401k, but the employer's contribution had to go, excuse me, I don't know if I said it right. The employee's money went into the Roth bucket, but the employer's matching fund went into the traditional 401k because there was no way to facilitate for the employer to write that off. Okay. But now they're talking about the employer is going to be able to actually make the matching contribution right into the Roth bucket. We don't know how that's going to be done yet. And so part of this Secure Act 2.0 is that there are, significant changes, but included in these changes are some time to figure out how they're going to implement some of this stuff. So again, we need to have a prudent conversation about the wisdom of doing some of these things, because it may not be universally applicable to all participants.
Right. And so essentially, if the employer had to contribute to the Roth portion, they lose their benefits. So that's kind of a heads up for all small business owners too, right? That they should be having this conversation with their tax planner as well, which
Right.
leads to the last question here, Winston. How do we incorporate these changes then into our tax planning?
Well, what we like to do is we like to be holistic at Winston and Companies. And it's a good idea to have a plan that literally touches every one of these topics. Okay.
Absolutely.
You need to be looking at your retirement plan and the sources that are going to be contributing to your retirement plan. In addition, you need to be looking at where this money goes after you are gone. The only two guarantees in life, we talked about it all the time, are death and taxes. Okay. And if you're like me, you care about what happens to the value of these dollars after you're gone. That's why a lot of people who care set up living trusts. They do this because they want these assets to pass to the next generation in the most prudent and efficient manner possible. Here at Winston and Companies, I like to say we actually specialize in helping people do that. We've garnered a reputation for helping people get this wealth to the other side in the most efficient way possible.
Mhm.
So we would encourage you to come on in, work with us to develop what we call our retirement flight plan, which is a beautifully laid out process to your retirement income, and your wealth transfer for these funds.
Mhm.
So you're always welcome to come visit with us.
Winston, I don't think it's Paul Harvey. I think it is you who has the rest of the story. This is such a great conversation to have. And I think it's so important. So, kind of the sooner the better that you can lay out these questions with your tax advisor, your financial planner, somebody like you, Winston. What's the best way to reach you if somebody does want to ask you about this legacy planning and this holistic financial planning?
Well, you could certainly call our office at 602-456-1928. That's 602-456-1928, or go online to our website, winstonandcompanies.com. There's a button on there where you can, click to schedule an appointment, meet with one of our advisors. But I mean that, you need to ask the question with all of these Secure Act things that are coming out. What's the rest of the story that they're not telling me?
Mhm.
All right. Don't just take what they're telling you at face value as the best deal since, sliced bread came out. Okay. There's more to that story, and we want to share that with you.
Absolutely. Great conversation. I loved it. Winston, thank you.
Aaron, always great talking to you. Thanks for taking the time.